Welcome to this edition of Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King. She is
Kim Guy.
Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday, the 4th day of November, show number 1068. It's Christmas time. No, it's not Christmas time. What do you think about this? We've seen it already. Christmas decorations are already up in stores.
I bought mine.
There's... What?
Yeah, for my little tree that I got. Sorry, there you go. It's this big.
You've already bought Christmas decorations for it.
Purple.
Of course, you like purple. But shouldn't Christmas decorations... What do you think? There's a poll in Canada now, because there's apparently a big stink that... Because we were talking about this on the pre-show, Remembrance Day. And Remembrance Day in Canada, at least, in Britain too, is a solemn occasion. It is not a celebration at all, unlike American Memorial Day or Veterans Day. So there's a movement in Canada to prevent, or to certainly ask retailers not to start doing Christmas sales or forcing Christmas down our throat until after Remembrance Day. Do you agree with that?
Well, you shouldn't put up your Christmas shit yet.
You mean a retailer or you personally?
Right. No. Well, both.
No.
Yeah. You don't need Christmas decorations up yet. No.
If only because there's plenty of time to do that. There's plenty of time, and there's an argument you made, and this is the argument that's made by the veterans here in Canada, is that it distracts from Remembrance Day, where we should, from now, November, from the day after Halloween until the 11th, we should be focused on the issues of Remembrance Day, of who we're remembering, why we remember them, and how, never forget, and how what do we do as a society, not just Canadians, not just Canadians, not just Americans, but as a society, how to prevent that kind of stuff from happening again. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of that idea. I don't like. In our family, we never did anything Christmassy until December 1st. What about you? When are you going to
Matthew's birthday, my son,
is when?
December 7th.
7th. So you start.
That's when the tree went up. The weekend around December 7th, that would be. I'd get my bottle of wine. And
or your
put the
box
tree up.
now, as the
box,
case would be.
Yes. But yeah, that would be my thing. And I mellowed, because for the first few years of my marriage and when the kids were small, I was terrible. I was a terrible mom, actually, at Christmas, because everything had to be perfect. The tree. So I had to do the tree, and I had to decorate it, and it had to be, balanced, yin yang.
Oh God, were you one of those people?
Yes,
oh,
very much
man.
so. I was Martha Stewart Christmas tree. And then in the latter few years, I drank more of this and allowed the kids to decorate the tree, which was perfect.
Yeah, my mother was an insane person. She would put the silver stuff. What's the silver stuff called? Tinsel.
Yeah. On
individual piece, one by one.
Oh God.
She would drape the tinsel over by individual. Us kids were not allowed. Us kids were allowed to hand my mother ornaments.
Right, that's what I did.
But we were never allowed to actually put. And we all had our own favorite ornament. We all had like one ornament we had bought or someone had given us or whatever it might be.
But Mum would put them on and balance them out.
Oh
yes.
my God, it was just insane.
That.
But yeah, I don't like seeing anything to do with Christmas until after, at the very least, Remembrance Day.
Beginning of December is good enough for a start.
There was a story. Last week, you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, I guess. The outdoor shop, REI, is closing its stores on Black Friday, the day after American Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving is a Thursday, and then the Black Friday is when shopping madness starts in Canada and America, and starting to be in the UK, too. It's starting to be a bigger deal in the UK. But the folks at REI say, we're a different kind of company. We're giving our employees off to let them go play outside. I wish more companies would do this. I would like to see more. I mean, somebody was at Best Buy or Walmart or Target. Someone announced they were going to start Black Friday on Thursday at 6 p.m. So employees, someone's got to work the store. So what they're saying is employees have to come in Thursday at 6 p.m. Well, that's supper time for a lot of folks for Thanksgiving. All retail should be shut down on Thursday and Friday. You don't need to go shopping on Thanksgiving. You don't need to go shopping the day afterwards. You've got plenty of time to go shopping. There's going to be weekends and weekends and weekends to go shopping. Let's not go shopping on Thursday. Let's not go shopping on Black Friday. Sure, go shopping on Saturday. That's fine. But if you have those days as holidays, take them as holidays. Mm-hmm. And retail employees are going to be slammed enough come Christmas. Why make it worse?
Give them a few days off.
Just give them a couple days off. Yeah. Just let them stay home with their families
time.
and relax and like REI, go outside. I wish that more. I would like to see more retailers step up and say this, that you know what, we don't need it that badly.
That's right. There's a lot of people, religious people, that would say we should take back Sundays. I remember in England when I was a kid, it was like fucking boring because you could do nothing on a Sunday because nowhere was open, nothing. It was just like, oh shit, I gotta stay home.
I'm a fan of not having liquor stores open on Sundays because to me it's a throwback to when I was in Nova Scotia when we had what they're called. Are they called blue laws in the UK? Called blue laws here in North America, where the liquor and other things are limited on Sundays. So they had blue laws and liquor stores were closed. So what it meant was that you had to plan your weekend. Right. You had to make sure Saturday night that you went to the liquor store and got
enough
booze for Sunday, and if there was a holiday on Monday.
Thing. Yeah.
That was your thing. I'm not saying I'm not saying dry Sundays. I'm saying you don't need to be able to go buy booze on a Sunday. Plan ahead. Buy booze on Saturday.
It is self-control, Brian,
exactly.
Because if you want to drink on a Sunday, then you make sure you've got a few beers and a bottle of wine in the fridge on Saturday.
The funny thing was, for better or worse, it also encouraged bootlegging in Nova Scotia. You would call up the local, I think it was called McDonald's Cab Company, on Sunday or holidays. And I can't remember what it was, but if you gave them the code word, one of the particular cabs would come by your house, and he'd have a trunk full of booze.
That's just weird.
And like the usual fifth of vodka or rum or whatever it was, like the Mickey bottles, in the stores were $20. He'd charge you $50 for it.
That's crazy.
A case of beer that was $20 cost you $50 for a case of beer because they're bootleggers. It was illegal, but they still did it. The cops kind of looked the other way. Well, they didn't sell to minors.
And that's it. Like Brian says, that's the problem. If you don't make it available all day, every day, 7 days a week, then there's people that when the law says no, close down, there'll be someone that does it illegally.
Sure. Yeah. I don't disagree with that, but it's not so widespread that it's that big of a deal. But then again, to be honest, I'm not a fan of being able to buy booze in corner stores. I think booze should only be sold in official government stores because, and I saw this happen, if you're a corner store guy and you're closing up for the night on a Friday night and some kid walks in, he looks like he might be down in the States, might be 21, you might sell him the booze. Whereas a liquor store guy doesn't care. Liquor store guys ID you all the time. They ID people in their 60s because they don't care. Their jobs, their livelihood aren't dependent on selling this booze to somebody. So I'd much rather have the stricter controls of the government employees than the obviously lax controls of a supermarket person. That's just me.
I think you just buy booze. If you want to buy it when you're shopping with your cauliflower, get it.
It certainly makes it convenient. I'll agree with you on that. And I'll be the first one to admit I took advantage of it many times. I was living in the States. You go to Save-On or Albertsons, whatever the supermarket was down there, and you got your chicken and your veggies and your chocolate and a case of beer. It was convenient. I'll admit to that. We're going to talk a little later on with our friend Jim Dalrymple, but one of the things I want to talk about, and Kim hasn't even noticed because Kim stopped Twitter. Folks, tell Kim not to quit Twitter. There's no reason for you to quit Twitter. You like Twitter. Twitter likes you. Where are you going to get your cute dog pictures?
On Facebook.
For some bizarre reason, Twitter has changed Did you ever use favorites on Twitter? The little star icon?
I'd like stuff. That was my way of liking stuff, like favorite the star.
Now, see, it's interesting you called it liking because that's a Facebook thing, not a Twitter thing.
No, I know that, dude.
No, hang on. Let me finish. The problem with liking is sometimes I don't like it, but I do want to save it. And that was what the stars, the favorites, were in Twitter for me.
Oh, yeah.
That it was a way of bookmarking something. Even if you disagree with it, this idiot said something stupid, click. I'll save that. So Twitter has changed that to a heart symbol. And that's kind of odd. It's kind of strange because...
They have?
Yeah, the heart means something very specific. It's a loving symbol. So if someone says something stupid or racist or idiotic, I'm not clicking a heart symbol. So we'll talk to Jim Dalrymple about that a little later on in the show, but his thoughts along those. And I saw a story today that I thought Kim would be amused by. Chocoholic Brits are deeply enraged by changes to Cadbury fruit and nut bars. Explain why that's so funny.
Yes, because you told me that article said that they were trying to put Cadbury's were putting why in the fruit and nut they were going to put sultanas in instead of raisins.
Hang on. What's a sultana?
I think I don't know, but it's like a dried up, shriveled white grape, whereas a raisin is a
dried up, shriveled red grape. What's the difference?
They taste different. They do taste different when they're dried. Lots of fruit tastes different when it's dried.
True.
But fruit and nut is nuts and raisins in your Cadbury's. Beautiful. Love Cadbury's. Chocolate. So don't fuck it up by putting sultanas in it. Holy crap. I'm with my British brothers.
Please, Cadbury UK, please stop messing with our British chocolate. We like it how it is. Sultanas are not part of fruit and nut. We won't buy it. But it is a fruit, right?
But it ain't Cadbury's fruit and nut. Cadbury's fruit and nut is nuts and raisins. That's it.
It's very
funny.
If it
ain't broke, don't fix it.
The outrage over this is just absolutely hilarious.
Because we love our Cadbury's.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's Cadbury's. I mean, hello, people at Cadbury's. You know you're freaking good, and the people of Britain love you. Like forever.
Well, it's
funny.
Love Cadbury's. That story, along with the Twitter thing, is very funny because that sounds silly to some of us, and to a lot of people, the whole Twitter heart versus star thing sounded silly too. This is something that'll all blow over. It's something we'll all forget very, very quickly.
Depends what you're into.
Yeah, I had one guy on Twitter say, it's a shame that people are so up in arms over a heart symbol when no one cares about the danger in Syria. That's not true. Lots of folks care about it. Maybe not the ones you follow on Twitter, but overall, obviously people care much more about Syria than they do about some stupid heart thing. And again, this will all blow over in a short period of time. The problem is, Twitter's argument for it is that it will make it easier for new users to use Twitter. And that makes no sense to me whatsoever. I have no problem with Twitter changing things because they need and want new users. They need and want people like you to get on Twitter and use it more often. I have no problem with that. But this is not the way to do it. This is not going to make Kim use Twitter more. It's not going to make a complete stranger use Twitter at all. It makes no sense to make the change. And I never, ever liked change for the sake of change. That's what this feels like. It feels like they're chasing Facebook, and they're doing things they think Facebook is doing right, and they're doing it for Twitter. And ignoring, A, what Twitter wants, B, what Twitter is, and see what new users want. I've never heard a single new user go, you know what? I like Twitter, but this star thing I'm not a big fan of. No one's ever said that because no one cares what the symbol is. Only the uber nerds actually care about it. In the long run, it's not going to make a difference at all. But it's a symptom of the company making changes for no readily apparent reason, which can never be good because it means the company's sort of flailing around looking for things that will bring in new users. So, yeah, if Monty says if Facebook is doing X, it's probably a good sign that you shouldn't be doing X. Yes, I don't disagree with you on that one, Monty. Folks, later in the show, we're going to be talking about manual controls of your iPhone. We're also going to talk about a gadget that could get you dead if you used it. And right after these messages, or after this, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. And don't forget, get your entry forms in to win an Apple TV. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King, joined on our phone, as always, on Wednesday evening by our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I am good. Thanks very much for joining us, as always. What are your thoughts on this whole Twitter thing? Twitter changing the symbol of liking something from a star to a heart.
I could care less.
It's
I never start anything. I won't heart anything. So I don't care.
Do you understand what's going on here? Is this something that you just don't even pay attention to, or do you?
I really cannot tell you how much I don't care.
You know, that's kind of a conversation killer, right?
Well, I mean, do you care?
I care, if only because it's an interesting way of asking the question. I care only in the sense that, what does this say about Twitter? That, I actually don't care what the symbol is for me liking, bookmarking, hearting things. I do care the fact that the heart is an odd symbol, if only because the heart is, I said to Kim earlier, it's a very specific kind of symbol in the sense that it means something universally. It means a good thing. Whereas for most of us, we would favorite things that were not necessarily good. If someone says something remarkably stupid on Twitter, I could save it. I would click on the little star thing.
That's a good point.
For example, a guy named Johan van Zetvelder shows, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The idea that because of the heart symbol, he's got this BBC breaking news. Plane crashes near the international airport in South Sudan. And below that, Twitter has put in, like this tweet, tap the heart to let them know. Well, no, you're not going to tap a heart symbol for a frickin' plane crash.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's an odd choice of symbolism. Plus the fact that, as I just said, it's weird that Twitter says, oh, they're doing this because they think this will bring them new users. Well, that makes no frickin' sense at all. How the hell is having a heart symbol going to bring them new users?
Well, it is Twitter.
So I care from the point of view of it. This makes it seem like Twitter really doesn't know what the hell they're doing, which is not unusual. We many of us have known or suspected that for a long time. That Twitter often doesn't seem to have a frickin' clue what they're doing, and they flail around looking for justification for their things, and this seemed like that's what it is. Oh, we're doing this because maybe people will like us more,
Well, yeah, I hear you.
So that's the problem I have with the way this is being portrayed by the folks at Twitter, and the fact that it just seems like a pointless change for Twitter. And the other thing is, as many people have pointed out, Twitter has so many problems. That this is the thing that you're working on. Harassment is rampant on Twitter. People want to edit their tweets. There's 1,000 different things that people would rather see Twitter work on and bring forward than changing the star symbol to a heart.
And that's why I just could care less. Really.
What about the idea of being able to edit your tweets? Is that something you care about?
No.
I
think I don't know that people should be able to edit their tweets. Really. I mean, you say something and then somebody jumps on you and you go back and edit it. I mean, delete it or don't say it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's the other thing, too, is about this whole idea of editing tweets. If people say, oh, I misspelled a word, well, then delete the tweet and retweet it with the right spelling.
Yeah.
Why do you need to have some sort of editing tool in Twitter? Why complicate Twitter in that way when it's completely unnecessary? It's not like you can't delete and then repost it. Just that's all you got to do.
Yep.
Sometimes these folks do things that are very confusing to me. Let's talk a little bit about Canadian politics. Did you vote in the election this past couple of weeks, Jim?
Did I what?
Did you vote in the Canadian elections?
No.
Why not? You know you're allowed, right?
Yeah, I know.
All right, just checking.
I could.
Now,
but
you and I are both old enough to remember, for our American friends, Justin Trudeau, who is now the new Prime Minister of Canada. His father, Pierre Trudeau, was probably the greatest Canadian politician ever, and not necessarily always in a good way. And Jim and I are both old enough to have grown up when we were kids with Trudeau. Do you have any thoughts about Justin? Did you follow the Canadian election? Did you want to give some color to our American friends about why this is so important to us?
So here's the thing with Canadian elections, because American elections are coming up, and Canada had a grueling 78-day lead up to the election.
Oh my God, it was exhausting. 78 whole days.
78 days. Yeah, 78 days. So here's the way a debate goes in Canada. When they have, the presidential debate down here. Yep. Well, here's the way that it goes in Canada. 3 people show up and they say, "Can you give me your opinion on health care?"
Yes.
And the first candidate will say, I think everybody should have health care.
Yes.
And the next guy, damn, that's what I was going to say. I think everybody should have health care too. And then the third guy chimes in and says the exact same thing. Okay, well, what do you think about education? Well, everybody should have education. Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take your thing. No, I'm sorry. That's the way a Canadian debate goes. And that is no word of a lie. That is how it goes. Unlike the American debate, where 50 people show up in front of an old airplane that Reagan used to fly in, and they fight like cats and dogs, and most people don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
and when they start campaigning, they start campaigning like 18 years before they're actually going to be voted for.
Yeah.
So seriously.
And the other thing is, as MacMan points out, try living in Iowa, try living in New Hampshire. Those are the two first primary states. If you think it's bad seeing all this election stuff anywhere else in America, it's 18 million times worse in those 2 states.
Yeah.
It's an amazing process.
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised.
It is a truly amazing and terrifying process. And in theory, what it's supposed to do is weed out the idiots. It ain't working.
No.
The idiots have risen to the top.
It's very, very funny. Canadian debates are so funny. They just apologize to each other for taking what they were going to say. And, it really is when I look at, what Canada runs on, and I think what Trudeau being elected showed everybody was that we're tired of politicians.
Yeah.
We're tired of the same old, because this is what you get. And really, it's not just in Canada, I think it's all over
Yeah.
that we're really kind of fed up with all of this. You know, so
I think the best part of the Canadian election, at least from this first day, he was just sworn in this morning. The response that Justin Trudeau had to a reporter who asked him, "Why is your cabinet 50-50?" There are 30 cabinet members in the Canadian. It's our version of your cabinet, but the unlike your Secretary of the Treasury in America, our guys have to be voted in. So it's an actual voted in member. So he's got 30 cabinet members, and it's gender parity, 50-50. 15 are women, 15 are men. And when someone asked him, why do you have it 50-50? He said, because it's 2015. I just wanted to stand up and applaud the man for just saying that. And I think one of the things that excites Canadians about Trudeau, more so than any politician we've had since his father, is the fact that, yes, he's young and he's going to screw up and he's going to make mistakes, but he's got an energy about him. We have a memory of his dad, and even though his dad was a colossal asshole at times, he made Canada interesting. Stephen Harper ruined Canadian reputation on the world stage, and our reputation in the world is very, very important to Canadians, perhaps more important than anybody else, but certainly important to Canadians. And we think that Justin Trudeau will bring Canada back to that prominence that we like. We think he's going to be a kinder, softer, gentler politician than Harper, and he will be, because Harper was a conservative, and they tend to be fiscally responsible, as the term is, whereas Trudeau is a liberal, or as the Americans would call him, a Democrat, and he'll tend to hopefully look after poor people and social services and those things that are important in Canada. So if you hear one of your fellow Canadians talking about how excited they are about these guys, this is the reason why. If nothing else, it's the promise. How you guys felt about Obama, certainly how the black population in the United States felt about Obama, this is the way many Canadians feel about Justin Trudeau. Even though a lot of votes were against Harper, a lot of folks are still feeling very, very good about Obama, or about Justin Trudeau. I think that's why we're hopefully excited about it, and hopefully he won't screw it up, because that'll really piss us off. Yeah.
And you don't want to see a pissed off Canadian.
Well, we just write stern letters to the editor.
That's right. And then write a follow-up letter apologizing.
Exactly. So you've had your Apple TV now for about 2 weeks. I've seen a lot of stuff online. Explain to me what this is going. I don't have an Apple TV, so I'm not sure what's going on. Explain the kerfuffle, and whether it's a serious one, about passwords in the Apple TV.
Well, you know what's interesting is that a lot of people, it would appear, use this remote app. I never did.
Yeah, okay.
So people would be able to enter in passwords and stuff and, do all this great and wonderful thing using Bluetooth keyboards. And I never bothered with any of that stuff. I really didn't. I just used the grid. The grid you type in the letters on the TV with the remote. That's what I used. And when I look at the way that
Jim?
When I look at the way, yes.
Sorry, you stopped.
When I look at the way that people use the keyboards or the remotes or all this other stuff, I think it's great that they did that, but now they can't.
Yeah.
And not only that, Apple took the grid away, which made it very easy to go around. This rectangle to type in passwords.
Yep.
And made it go all the way across the screen, which, is a bit worse. Because it takes longer, it's more complicated, So I can understand the frustration in that respect, but I don't know. I never really used the remote app. I never used a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yep.
I always viewed the Apple TV as an entertainment device that I used with a remote. And if I need to type in my password, well, then I need to type in my password, using the remote app. So it never really never really bothered me a whole lot. But, here we are, where it bothers a lot of people, apparently.
I've heard a lot of complaints about the remote itself, the new Apple TV controller, that it's apparently the same facing up as it's facing down. Any comment on that?
It's what?
Apparently, it's the exact same. It's symmetrical, so you can't tell which direction it's facing just by holding it. You can't tell whether you're pushing the button on the top or bottom of it just by physically holding it.
I don't even know what you mean. I mean, it's obvious where you are in the remote because it's got a big, glass slider at the top. How could you not know where you were?
Is the glass an issue? We've seen a couple of stories that people have dropped it and broken their Siri remotes.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Because one time I broke a glass when I dropped it on concrete. And I never thought about running to the internet to complain about that.
I don't think that's actually the point they're trying to make, though.
I'm glad that you brought it up because, I ran over a glass one time with my car and it smashed. And I never even thought about going to the internet and saying, "Oh my God, I am so pissed off at this glass company that made this cup because it smashed when I dropped it on concrete."
Oh dear, that's not the point, though. The point is that it's made out of glass.
Well, then don't buy it, moron.
But don't you need it to use the Apple remote?
I cannot get over people and the things that they will complain about.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. And to a certain degree, you're right. Don't drop it. But the other thing is because it's so expensive, it's almost $100 for that remote. That if you drop it
to a certain degree, I'm right. There was this one time when I was a kid and I had a bottle of wine. And I dropped it, and the bottle of wine smashed. Imagine that. That's just awful. The next time that happens, I'm going to go to the internet and complain about that winery because the bottle smashed.
All right.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. And that's how I feel about people complaining that they dropped the remote on concrete and it smashed.
Well,
don't be so stupid.
You feel better now?
I actually do feel a lot better now. And I meant what I said. I'm glad you brought it up because that needed to be said.
The other aspect of it, too, is from what height are you dropping these things on the ground? Aren't most people have carpeting in the living room? I mean, maybe we're being nitpicky and minimizing people's concerns about this kind of stuff, but without having felt it and seen it myself, I'm not quite sure what a lot of folks are terribly upset about.
Well, I don't even care that they're upset. I could care less.
Let's move on to the again, not having used it. I have used one aspect of the Apple TV. It's the screensavers. I think I would have my TV on 24/7 now just to see these screensavers.
Those damn things are beautiful.
Have you thought about how they made them?
Well, I know how they made them.
How'd they make them?
They made them with helicopters and drones.
Yeah. It's really incredible. Folks, if you haven't had a chance to, if you're running El Capitan, you can go to loopinsight.com. Do a search for screensaver, 2 words, and it'll come up with, I can't remember the guy's name, just some nerd on the internet who grabbed all of these videos from the Apple website and created a screensaver you can use on your Macintosh or on your Macs. So if you don't have an Apple TV, you don't know what we're talking about, grab this thing, download it, install the screensaver. You'll have this thing going 24/7. It's spectacularly beautiful. Oh, my God. These images are amazing. I can't wait. I hope Apple is doing it. that I want to see a lot more videos. Right now, there's China, San Francisco, New York, and I think Chicago, if I remember correctly. But I hope to God Apple does a whole lot more of these.
The thing is that the screensavers will change from night or day, depending on what time it is where you are.
Yep.
So you could be watching the screensaver at noon, and at 8 o'clock at night it'll be the same type of picture, but it'll be dark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brilliant. That's so brilliant. I love that. I mean, that's detail right there. That's detail.
Yeah, the detail of those things is just unbelievable. It's just wonderful that Apple has done that, and that can't be cheap either. I mean, hiring helicopters costs like $5,000 an hour just for the frickin' helicopter, let alone the staff and everyone else involved in it. So you're looking at probably $7,500 an hour for 10 screensavers. That's amazing and so good looking. Anyway,
and you know that they didn't do it in one take.
Oh God, yes.
So yeah, brilliant stuff. Love it. I love that as much as I hate people complaining about dropping the remote on concrete.
What about Siri? We've all used Siri on our phones. How is Siri using it on the Apple TV? Can you change channels? Can you move around, or is it just for search?
Well, I mean, there's different things that you can do with Siri. You can search. Certainly, you can ask it what the weather is, and it'll bring up the weather on the bottom third of the screen when you're watching a movie. You can just say, Siri, what's the weather? And then if you move that weather up to get a more detailed forecast, if you move it up all the way, and so it's full screen now.
Yeah.
The Apple TV will pause the show that's in the background now.
Nice.
So that you don't miss anything. I mean, see, that's the type of detail that we expect from Apple, is that. It knows that the weather is now full screen. For some reason, you wanted to see the weather in the middle of the movie you're watching, so you probably dropped your remote on concrete, so now you want to see what the weather is like in the middle of the movie, so we're going to pause the movie for you.
Yeah. I think the most interesting thing about your review, and we talked about this briefly on last week's show, was, and this is a quote from your review, Apple has a history of releasing features slowly to make sure they work right. Then they'll broaden the scope of the features to include more content. This is a smart way to introduce features, especially groundbreaking features like these. I think the thing that interests me about that the most is the idea that we've already seen people complaining about this and complaining about that. Oh, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. People who should even know better, like Dan Moore and Jason Snell, have already got their wish list of things that they wish the Apple TV did. We all know they're going to do it in the future, especially for the obvious stuff. But people have to understand that Apple does a little bit at a time. They iterate. They can't afford to, nor do they want to screw this up. So the things that you think you want in the Apple TV are undoubtedly going to happen in another version, whether it be an OS version or whether it be another hardware version somewhere down the line.
Yep.
People have to understand that this is not the end of the Apple TV. This is just the beginning of this version of the Apple TV. It's going to get bigger. You said last week that you were very, very excited about the future of Apple TV, even though you can't or won't predict what you think that future will be. You know it's going to be a big future.
Yep.
Now, someone unfortunately, sadly, brought up the idea that the Apple TV is just the precursor to a full-blown, actual, real, live HD TV in 5 years. Yes, and it wasn't even Gene Munster.
Let it go, Gene.
No, shut up.
Let it go, Gene.
That's right. It wasn't Gene this time. It was somebody else. But I still do not believe, I haven't used the Apple TV, but everything I've read about the Apple TV, everything I imagined the Apple TV is going to be at some point in the future doesn't include a television set.
It doesn't need to.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, could Apple do software to run television sets? You know, I could could LG make a TV set and have the Apple TV built into it? Sure. Then you're just looking at licensing software, and Apple could end up running the whole TV market just by default by having this.
Yeah.
They could do stuff like that. But, Apple doesn't need to make a physical TV in order to own the television market.
Yep.
I think what they've done with apps is very compelling. And if you look at the way that that some of the video companies have laid out the apps, because Apple has given the companies free rein now. So you can lay it out how you think it should be laid out, not how I want you to lay it out.
Yeah.
And that's very important, because now Showtime doesn't look like HBO, and HBO doesn't look like USA Networks, and they're all different. They can lay things out differently. They can, put the menus where they want. They can do all of this great stuff so that I can look at HBO and say, oh, you know what, your channel sucks. Or, no, I look at it and I think it's very good, by the way. I think that by Apple loosening up any guidelines that they had, they allow these companies to be creative and to display the stuff the way that they want to display it.
You don't think there's a danger of confusing the user with a whole bunch of different interfaces and a whole bunch of different ways of doing things? If every single app is allowed to do things their own way, aren't we going to have 75 different user interfaces?
Well, no, we're going to have one user interface, but we're going to have different ways to lay that out. And if a company is so poor at laying it out that people don't understand it, then they're going to be the ones to suffer.
Sure, makes sense.
Because personally, I'll just stop using it. I mean, I've got a remote with Siri on it, and I've got a television. And if you can't figure out how to make this beautiful and how to make it work with this remote that I've got and voice commands, then you're in a lot of trouble.
Folks, been talking to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. He's here each and every week. He has his own 2 podcasts. Count them, 2. One's called Amplify. The other is called the Dalrymple Report. Both available on the iTunes Store. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk next week. See ya.
Bye.
By the way, for those folks who are watching the video, everyone say software update. No, close. Everyone say hi to Gromit. He's always has that look in his face, like, what are you doing? What do you? Yeah, turn your mic on first.
There we go.
Maybe I turn Rummy. Folks, you're not going to believe this when I tell you, but Kim, what kind of dog is Gromit?
Jack Russell Terrier.
He is a non-yappy Jack Russell Terrier.
No.
He's protective of Mummy, and he will growl at things, but for the most part, he's not yappy at all. He's a wonderful little dog.
And he's not a super hyperactive like
Nope.
most people think. Oh, Jack Russell. He must be bouncing off the walls. Nope.
No. He's a good sized cat for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of yappy dogs.
Fitbark.
Oh,
People
yeah,
at
so there's
Fitbark, thank you, Sarah and the other guys that contact me, because yes, it's awesome, and I've monitored his activity levels, and I've increased it because I'm not working right now, so I'm actually allowed to be with him a bit more, so we do more walking and exercising.
Why did the Fitbark guys contact you?
Well, because they kind of asked me how it's going.
Oh,
and
did they? Oh,
and
good.
I said it's good, but I'd like to know, is he normal?
Yeah.
Is it a normal Jack Russell?
Considering his
8-year-old?
mom, probably not.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Like, is this common for Jack Russells? Is this kind of normal?
This energy level of
energy
his,
level, and is this enough? Is it too much or whatever? But she says they're working on that, and that's what they're collecting, a lot of data from lots of different breeds and people. So it's kind of cool, because then we'll find out, your typical 8-year-old Jack Russell is at this level. So it's good.
Yeah, we used it for a while, and then we kind of stopped because it was very consistent. We after the first 3 months of using it, we checked it every night. It was, we almost made it. It's very much like people with their Apple Watch, and that to me was interesting.
But
we checked it every single night to make sure that Gromit, not make sure, but to see if he had reached his fitness goals
Right.
for that day. And after about 3 months, we realized it was the same. He was almost always hitting them, just barely.
Yeah.
And
so now
we
I've upped it.
So we stopped checking
Yeah.
for a long time. I wonder if that's true of people with the Apple Watch too. Is once you, after 3, 4, 5 months of knowing you're hitting your fitness goals, maybe you stop checking them. Maybe not, because it's very obvious on the Apple Watch, that stuff, whereas on the Fitpark, you have to open the app, it has to collect the data, so maybe it's different for the Fitpark. Same idea, though.
Up the bar a little bit.
And so you've upped his fitness points, Fitpark
Yeah.
points. And is he meeting those goals too?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And it's good for me because I know if he's doing it, I'm walking
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monty says, what's that weird gray block in the lower third of Kim's camera? That is from the photo booth app. You know that stupid app that hang on. What have I done? You know that app that people used and then ignored? if you want to, play around with this. I mean, you can do whatever you want with this stuff. It's a photo booth. And for some reason, the photo booth app
cuts off half the screen.
Yeah, you can't do anything about this lower third down there, which is really quite annoying. I haven't found there. It's what I'm doing is, for those folks who aren't sure, is I'm using Kim's camera is my iPad hooked into the Macintosh, and then using QuickTime, put on a second monitor, and then Wirecast feeds it in to Google Hangouts.
It's like a whole bunch of Vogue.
Yeah, no kidding. There's no app that will let me use the camera with no interface. If someone knows of one, let me know. But that's the cleanest interface I could find to get Kim on camera. Every other app has got different big red buttons and that kind of stuff. So if anyone knows, let me know.
Wow, DJ McIntosh, you've walked 12 miles today. Awesome. Like I've done, I think.
But DJ's blind.
Kilometers.
He might have just been lost.
4 kilometers with Grommy.
I'm kidding.
We usually do between 2 and 8 kilometers a day ish.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Wait, between 2 and 8? That's a huge difference.
2, the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
That's literally, down to the field and back.
Yeah.
But then if I go for the Vedas Trail and the dog park and a bit more, yeah.
For me, the pounds have been shed. I'm on the breakup diet. I've lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Great.
Yeah, that's my fault. Good or bad. People.
I'm going to get all kinds of emails from people going, why is she there? what was she doing on the show? What the hell? I thought you guys broke up.
If she's not in your life anymore, why is she there?
She is in my life.
Because he wants me there. And I know it's all a bit fucked up. But, hey, if we can be friends, I think that's good. Like, we're old enough. We should be able to be friends.
That's it. And for me, 10% of Kim is better than none of Kim. So that's why I'm doing this. The other thing is, and I'll replace her in a heartbeat as soon as I find some other cute girl. I'll tell you that right now.
Right, and that's fine.
I'm
That's
kidding.
Fine. No,
I'm kidding.
That's fine. I'm good with that. Hey, you do whatever you do.
I'm
Live for
kidding.
the moment.
But the thing is, for me, I've always hated doing the show by myself. It's boring. It's in my head, it's me talking for 90 minutes.
Because it is. It's not in your head. It is.
well, that's why I keep trying to get you more involved, so I don't have to talk for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So having someone else to talk to and to bounce things off of is good, even if I can't stand that person. And DJ McIntosh, I agree, Shawn and Kim. I'm still friends with a lot of my exes. I'm still friends with Sly. I love Sly to death. Sly and I have been friends for
You still
Christ.
Twitter Amy and talk to
Yeah,
Amy.
exactly.
That's good.
I've been friends with Sly for 25 years now. I think she's my second oldest friend, or third oldest friend, behind Glenn and Susan up there in Vernon. So, yeah, if you're an adult, you can be friends with your exes. Until I find a replacement. Don't younger, cuter. Don't worry about it. He's so gone. You asked me something about the Twitter thing, the hearts and likes thing when we were in break. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Oh, fuck. But you saw that thing I was showing when Jim was talking about the BBC. And see, this is the problem.
Yeah, and that's it. Because even before they changed all this, I remember Hannah, my she's 15 now, my stepdaughter, saying that she posts things on Twitter or Facebook, and people would like it. And she's like, I posted something that was sad
right,
and miserable.
Yeah,
Why are they
somebody
liking
died.
it?
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
like, you moron.
Yeah.
Like, so, I think it was Mo was talking about, they'll have an unhappy face and blah, blah. And maybe they should.
I think what it should be is something as simple as a bookmark. That's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be a favorite or a like or
No,
a heart
bookmark.
or a start.
No.
But
Because
just a
unlike you,
bookmark.
I don't want to keep shit. I don't want to keep shit.
No.
I want to keep. You're a thing about keeping. It's just like, I just want to comment and to like something
Yeah.
or unlike it or just
Well,
ignore it.
what about disliking things? Should there be a dislike button? If there's a like button, shouldn't there be a dislike button? See, that's why I say bookmark, because a bookmark is neutral. A
Yeah.
bookmark just means I'm saving
You
this.
see, people like the positive impact,
that's right.
positive
I agree.
feedback. Whereas unlike
But
is
I think this thing, it's a perfect representation of it. The fact that
what you think of me is none of my business, basically. So if you unlike me, I don't need to know that. I really
Okay,
don't need
I
to
see
know
what
if
you're
I
saying.
like
Okay,
you
yeah.
either. Really.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Because I'm not a big social media thing. So really, if I'm posting something, I'm just putting it out there. But I personally don't need to see, how many likes did
Yes,
I get?
that's right,
Or
yeah.
how many
I-
blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I'm the same way.
It's like, hey, this is what I was thinking about today.
There are people who are insanely focused on the number of likes they get, the number
Yeah.
of followers they get, the number of stars they get, how many times they've been favored, and that kind of stuff.
You think that's like kind of this era of
absolutely.
people?
Absolutely.
But Brian, my English couple friend who are like my adopted English parents, Brian is, I think he's 79.
79, he is.
Yeah.
And looks good for 79.
He does. He's
Looks
awesome.
65.
He plays table tennis and like he's really active. Awesome guy. He did a whole bunch of Halloween shit for the kids
Yep.
on the weekend, and his daughter picked me up, and we went over there for Halloween. And she videoed a little thing of his ghost and his ghoulies and his music that he was playing on the porch and everything,
Yep.
and posted it on Facebook. And every 5 minutes he kept saying, "So how many people? How many people have seen it now? And how many people have liked it now?" And it's like, oh my God, Brian. It's like, you're 79. Who cares what everyone else thinks?
Well, it's an
he
interesting
did.
attitude because it's for certain people. I don't want to put Brian down because I'm following this up with after that story. It's an affirmation of themselves, of their actions, of what they're doing, and it can be bad if you're chasing the affirmation. There's a story just,
And he's not that kind of guy.
No, he
He
definitely
is
is
very do his own thing.
There was
Yeah.
a story just recently about some Instagram star, and I'm not an Instagrammer, so I have no idea who she was. But apparently, she was this huge Instagram star with millions and millions of followers who came out and admitted that her Instagram account was mostly fake. All the pictures that showed this and she's a pretty young woman. I think she's 24, 25 years old. Apparently, the pictures that she had posted of her with the latest dresses and the coolest stuff were all fake. And she was exhausted by having to create this fake life because what she was doing was exactly that, chasing the likes, chasing the hearts, chasing the favorites. I think when I first introduced you to Twitter, one of the things you said to me was, "How many followers do you have?" And I said, "I have no idea." You said, "Why not?" I said, "I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass how many followers I have. I don't care how many people follow me. I don't care who unfollows me. I don't care whether they like the stuff I post, because I don't do it for them." I think the reason why you do things is the important part.
Yeah.
If you do something in order to get those likes, in order to get that star, in order to get that heart, that's wrong. If you do something for you and some of the people like it, great. Fantastic.
Bonus.
If they don't like it, okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
I don't care one way or the other because I'm going to do what I'm going to do with no thought whatsoever as to whether or not this person or that person will like it or favorite or heart it or things like that. I use favoriting in Twitter as a bookmark because there's some tweet that's got a piece of information or is a funny line. Mostly it's funny stuff, and I'll favorite that sort of thing. So for me, having it as a heart symbol isn't going to make any damn bit of difference. I'm still going to do the exact same thing. I get why some people are upset, but also this is going to blow over in a month. And we'll completely forget about this in a month. It's definitely a tempest in a teapot. From that point of view, to me, the bigger issue is that it feels like Twitter doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Or they may know what they're doing, but they have a terrible time, a hard time articulating it to us. They said that they're doing this because it'll bring in more users. How? That literally makes no sense whatsoever. Because a new user isn't going to know that you've changed it from a star to a heart. Unless they were looking at it at that moment in time. Every user that comes after the moment you changed it.
You just go, what does that do?
Yeah.
Oh, that means that. Okay.
Maybe people will like favorite star, whatever we're going to call it, fewer things. Because the heart, as like I said, means something very specific. It means something very important. What happens if someone gets a... we see this a lot. Women get harassed on Twitter and on the internet in general to an alarming degree. So some asshole tweets at a woman, "I'm going to rape you and kill you." She can't heart that. She wants to save it to make sure that the idiot can't delete it, or she wants other people to see it, but she can't heart that. You see what I'm saying?
Whoa. Is that what you would... Oh, so you're saying that's what you would have used the star for before?
Exactly. Or a bookmark. That's why I say...
a snap.
She definitely would do that. But you see what I'm saying? That's why a bookmark is much better, because bookmark is neutral. Bookmark doesn't mean I like it or I dislike it. It just means I want to save it. That's the problem with the heart. The heart symbol in our society, certainly in Western society, means something very, very specific. So, anyway, we'll see how this goes. What else do I got going on? In our starting point photography segment, by the way, if you follow me on Facebook, I posted a story about 2 classes I'm doing this coming week, this Saturday and Sunday. One class is going to be on learning how to take better photographs with the camera you already have. The other class is on learning how to take better photographs with your DSLR. I'm really surprised at how many folks have a DSLR and really don't know how to use it, or at least don't know how to use it effectively. And so I've got these 2 classes. So if you know someone in the Vancouver area, if you are in the Vancouver area, please join us. It's a $50 class, downtown Vancouver, right straight downtown in the Vancouver Convention Center at a pub.
A nice pub.
It's a very nice pub.
Very good food.
They have harp.
An excellent view.
Yes, a beautiful area down there. So if you know someone in Vancouver, or if you're in Vancouver, please come on down and join me. First thing first, though, I got to believe that this is, without a doubt, the single stupidest thing.
Most stupid, not stupidest. I hate that word. Why do you use that word? It's not English. Stupidest.
What?
Most stupid.
What?
Don't say stupidest.
Why not?
It's bad English.
What do you mean it's bad English? It's a word.
No, it's bad English.
But it's a word.
No.
Okay, look.
Most stupid idea you've seen, yes.
Shut up. No. Stupidest. Look, I'm on dictionary.com. All right?
Stupidest.
Stupidest.
Yeah, no, but who's dictionary.com written by? American?
What does it say? Stupid. Stupidest. See, look, stupidest is a word.
No, it's not.
I don't got to listen to you anymore.
No, it's not.
I don't have to listen to you anymore. Sorry, what is it you wanted me to say?
Most stupid idea for a pistol grip.
This is a 3D printed pistol grip for the Olympus Air. What this is a camera on the end of a pistol grip.
Yeah, that's kind of...
This thing is going to get somebody killed.
Is there a viewfinder on it, or no? You
No.
Just shove it in somebody's face.
Because the Air, this is for the Olympus Camera Air, is just basically a big lens.
Yeah.
And so what you do is it's a kind of like a point and shoot lens.
Literally.
Now, interestingly enough, what's fascinating about this thing is the fact that this is a product in Japan. You know why that's fascinating?
Pourquoi?
Because the Japanese don't have the gun culture of Americans. Mm-hmm. So to them, this would not be as threatening.
No. It's just a handle on the end of the camera.
Exactly.
Right.
But in America, and certainly probably in Canada, don't buy this!
Just holding your hand up like that gets people pissed off in the States.
This is just remarkably stupid. The other thing is, it comes with a holster. This thing gets stupider.
More stupid.
This thing gets even more stupid. Look at this. It comes with a freaking holster.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. The whole...
So you're going to be walking around with this thing hanging on your hip.
Yeah. Not so good. No.
Don't buy this.
No.
Just, if you have an opportunity, don't. Spend your money on something else. This is just an awful...
Well, you could buy it and faff around with it in your house, but I wouldn't take it out in public.
You point that at someone in public, and don't be surprised here in North
America.
You point
it to an American cop, you're dead already.
Yeah. Just remarkably dumb idea. Just don't do it.
No.
Now, I had somebody ask an interesting question. Let me see if I can't dig the question up. I know it's around here somewhere. Hang on. Do iPhones have full manual control of the camera? What they're asking about is, for those folks who have used DSLRs, you have that button, that dial on your camera that says manual, or M. And it allows you control over the aperture, over the shutter speed, over the ISO. You have that control anyway. Over a whole bunch of different things. Mainly aperture and shutter speed. And by manipulating those things, by learning what those things are, first of all, and then manipulating them, you can change how your image turns out. You can make it darker. You can make it lighter. You can make it blurrier. You can make it sharper. You can do all kinds of cool, fun, artistic effects with it. Not artistic effects, but you can change the nature of the photo. Now, the iPhone, the native app on the iPhone, you have no control over. Let me just check to make sure. You have no control over the aperture. The aperture is the hole in a lens. So you've all seen a shutter open up and close. Aperture is that hole in the lens. The description of the hole, or definition or measurement of the hole, is called f-stop. So the hole is aperture. F-stop is the number that describes how big the hole is. It's a mathematical formula. Don't worry about it. So you'll see numbers like f2 and f4 and f8 and f11, and all that means that the hole is bigger and smaller. The iPhone's aperture is set by Apple at f2.2. Okay? What that means, and you can't change that aperture. You can't do anything about it. You can't make it aperture. You can't make it f11. You can't make it f12. You can't do anything about it. The native iPhone app, a lot of folks don't realize this. I think I can do this with Kim. I think I can do this with your camera. Let me see if I can't. Okay, first of all, I will escape out of this, and I'll grab the camera. And I'll switch it so you can see my happy smiling face. Hello. The iPhone allows you to, let's put Kim on because it's much prettier look. The iPhone, while you can't change the aperture of the iPhone, you can change the exposure of it by holding down the. Sorry, first of all, you can change the focus. So when you hold an area, the iPhone will focus on that spirit. So for those folks who are watching the video, you can see a little square that pops up as I touch the screen. Boobies. As you touch different places, that's where the camera is going to focus. So you can change the focus on the iPhone. If you touch and hold an area, you'll see the screen, the little square flashed, and at the top of your screen, it says, what does it say up there, Kim?
AE lock.
What is that?
Something exposure lock.
Good. Exposure lock, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does is it locks the exposure of that one particular square. And so what you do is you play around with this and see how this affects your photo. So when I tapped on Kim's nose, the iPhone says, okay, this is the perfect exposure for Kim's nose. When I tap on the microphone, which is darker, didn't light up. All right, let me try something else.
No, but you can move, can't you?
Yeah, hang on. One thing at a time.
Okay.
I'm trying. There we go. So the exposure gets a little darker it gets lighter depending on which area you put it on. So if there was a bright light source and I put it on Kim, you would see it change. But when you lock the exposure, you can now slide your finger up and down the screen of your iPhone or iPad and change the exposure. So by doing that, if I pointed the camera at a really bright area, I could change the exposure to make it less bright, and vice versa. If you point at a really dark area, you can change the exposure to make it bright.
Really bright.
So that's how, sometimes you'll take a picture and it's too bright or it's too dark, and you can't do anything but the light. The light is concert lighting or it's sunlight or things like that. Do this to play around with the exposure. Maybe you can get the shot to be a little better than before. DJ McIntosh, by the way, says that interface is better for Kim's camera since the toolbar is translucent. You're right, except I don't like all this stuff on Kim's right hand side. The buttons for all this stuff. Although that looks better because it gets you a little closer too. So those are the things you can change on the iPhone. You can't change the shutter speed, so you can't make things more or less blurry. And you can't change white balance or ISO. ISO is for making the sensor of your camera more sensitive to light. That's on the native iPhone app. There are other apps where you can change these things. There are other apps where you can change the ISO. You can change the white balance. You can change the shutter speed. And I think you can change the aperture. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's the one thing you can ever change. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't change that. So there are other apps that will allow you to change other aspects of the iPhone in order to make more creative and different decisions when it comes to the iPhone. So we'll talk about those apps on next week's show. I don't want to fill your head full of too much stuff right off the bat. So what you want to do is, first of all, is try that trick of just tapping on the screen to force the iPhone to focus on that thing that you want it to focus. Or tap and hold and wait for that green. Oh, it doesn't work in video. That's right. Sorry. I had it on. Or tap and hold to make that AE lock thing come on, and then play around with swiping up and down to see if you can't get a better quality image on your iPhone. First of all, I tried to use this with Kim's face. I'm just seeing whether any of this stuff gets her closer or further away. I guess that's
the time lapse. For some reason, zooms in more.
We can do a time lapse of you, and just every 5 seconds, just take a picture of you, and then that's what we'll do. We'll post it on the interwebs and see how goofy you look in time lapse. Monty says the app Manual Cam is one of the most flexible apps for the iPhone for changing settings in the camera. Thank you, Monty. If anybody has a favorite app, send me an email to Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com or onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. So, Monty, please send me that, and I'll make a collection of the ones you guys have, and I'll add my own choices too. So let me know what you guys think when it comes to changing settings on the camera. But one thing I tell folks, both here on the show and in my class, don't go messing with these settings unless two things happen. Unless you are already a good photographer. You are already taking good shots in automatic mode. Only go into a manual mode, whether it be on your DSLR, your point and shoot, or your iPhone, if you already understand the steps before that. In other words, don't drive off in the Ferrari until you've used the training wheels on the tricycle, and you've ridden in the Volkswagen Beetle, and you've driven the manual car. You understand what I'm saying? Make it a process as opposed to jumping straight into manual, because what will happen is, and I've seen this happen to people, actually I had one of my students in my class, this was one of her problems, is that somebody somewhere on the line said, oh, you can only take good pictures if you shoot in manual. There's no good photographer that ever shoots in automatic. You must shoot in manual. So this poor girl was beating her head against the wall trying to take manual images
And fucking them all up.
and completely screwing them up.
Right.
And the reason why she was screwing up is because she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't understand how aperture affected shutter and shutter affected aperture and ISO affected both of them. All she was doing was just sort of randomly pushing buttons and hoping she got an image. So don't switch to manual, whether it be on the iPhone or anything else, until you understand photography, until you're already taking good pictures. I get people all the time asking me, should I buy a new camera? Well, is the camera you got not good enough? Are you not able to take the pictures you want with the camera you have? My Nikon D50 was a great camera for my first 4 years of shooting. That it was because my abilities weren't as good as the camera. Once your abilities outstrip the camera, then buy a new camera. But don't buy a new camera just because you want the latest and greatest thing and it's got this and got that. Make sure you are going above and beyond what your camera can do first. Don't spend the money on a new camera just for the sake of buying a new camera. MacMan says, pros only shoot in manual. Bullshit. Most serious photogs I know use either aperture or shutter priority mode. And for me, it's use whatever gets you the shot. I don't care what mode you're in. No one has ever asked me, what mode was that in when you took that picture of the sky?
You just got it to look the way you wanted it to look.
Doesn't matter what mode it was in.
Yeah.
You shoot what you shoot the way you want to shoot. And for me, 75% of the time, I'm shooting aperture priority because that's the style of photography I like.
That's like asking a painter, what mood were you in when you painted that shot? Because it doesn't matter. Do you like that picture, the end product, or not?
No.
That's all.
What camera did you use for the shot? Doesn't
matter.
Makes no difference whatsoever.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'm going to print this off for Kim in a bigger, better version. Nope. Is it on screen? I love this image. This was, we were in Mexico, and it was too much light.
Sunrise.
Yeah. Kim doesn't care what camera I use for that. She doesn't care about the f-stop. She doesn't care about the aperture settings, the shutter speed.
Cool
all
picture.
she does is pretty. That's all that matters. I like this image. That's all I want to hear from a person I show the picture. Now, if you want to get into the technical details of it, it's great. But you don't need to know all that stuff to get good shots.
No. The technical stuff comes in when you know in your head creatively what you want to achieve, look with your picture, and then the camera just won't take it. So you go, oh, fuck, I know it can. That's when you need someone to explain, like you do, well, if you want it to show more of the light, or you want it to focus in on this, or you want it to be a big picture, this is what you need to alter.
Yep.
And that's when you need to learn the technical stuff. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you got to have the creative first.
Yep. You've got to be able to take good pictures first before you start looking at the technical aspect of it. Because in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I don't think you can be a good photographer without a certain aspect of creativity. Creativity comes first.
Yes.
And you can be creative with any device you have, even the stupid pistol grip camera. Before someone shoots and kills you. Thanks very much to our Secret Santa. We have an Apple TV, 128 gigabyte Apple TV. The big one we're giving away on the first show in December, which I think is December 5th. That's a guess. But the first Wednesday in December, we're going to give that away. Now, it's easy to enter the contest draw. You can. It's no fee required, no purchase necessary. All you do is go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com, right to the top of the page. You can see the contest entry form. Click on that. It sends me an email after you fill in the form.
64 gigabyte.
Yeah, it's 30. No.
Yeah.
What's the biggest
There's either
one?
32 or 64.
Yeah, that's why I keep messing it up. 64 gigabyte.
You're
There
doubling everything up
That's
too
right.
much.
There is no 128 gigabyte Apple TV. This is not a prototype you're getting. It's a 64 gigabyte Apple TV. Send me an email. Make sure it's a legitimate email address response. You can lie about all the other stuff in the survey form. I don't care about that. But because we've had people who won prizes, and I sent them the email about it, and the email bounced back at me like, "This is not a real address." Well, don't enter a contest with a real address. So send me a real address, and one per month, so one per contest. So if you've already sent one in, don't send one in every single Wednesday. You get one entry form. I will delete and throw away any extra entry forms, unless if you are one of the wise ones The smart ones, the handsome ones, the pretty ones, who are subscribers to Your Mac Life. The show is free. You can download it for the iTunes Store for free. But if you subscribe to Your Mac Life at $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever it might be, what that does is it puts a little money in my pocket. It also will get you an automatic entry form into the contest each and every month you are subscribed. And for every entry above $2, for every amount above $2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, you get an extra entry form. So for $4 a month, you get 2 entries. For $6 a month, you get 3 entries, etc., etc., etc. So, and then I'm the one who puts your name into the virtual hat. You don't got to do anything else. You're on your own. It's done by PayPal or out of your major credit card. So please, I would appreciate it if you did that. We like getting subscribers.
And with Apple TV,
yes.
Am I right or wrong? Apple TV is the only way you can do. You do that. Anyone with an iPhone, you can. Oh God, I've forgotten what it's called now. Where you can put your shit on TV off your phone.
Yes.
Yeah, onto TV.
Yes.
But you can only do that if you've got Apple TV, right? No? How would I do that on a normal TV?
Well, there are a couple different ways.
No, what's the pros of having an Apple TV? That's what I'm trying to get at.
All right.
Is like
pros of Apple TV is that it's an easy interface to use.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clean. You can download TV shows. So if you want all of Big Bang, you can subscribe to Big Bang Theory, and automatically all the shows download.
You don't have to pay extra.
Yes, you do.
Oh.
You pay extra. I think it's like $40 a month. $40 for the season. It's not cheap.
Okay.
If you're sitting around the house and decide, you know what, I want to watch a movie tonight. Mm-hmm. I think I want to watch. I'm in a James Bond mood. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go watch Skyfall. And so you do a search for Skyfall, and you download the movie. You pay your $5, and you watch Skyfall.
Okay.
If you've got home movies that you've shot yourself and edited an iMovie, you can watch them on your Apple TV.
You just them up. Yeah.
Your Flickr feed you can watch on Apple TV. You've seen me do it. You've seen me use my Apple TV with Flickr as a screensaver.
But can you do that without Apple TV?
Yes, but it's not easy. That's the key for the Apple TV.
Yeah.
It's easy to do.
Right.
I could give you an Apple TV, and you, Kim, and this is not a knock on Kim or else yet, but Kim is not technologically knowledgeable.
No.
You don't really care about tech. You like using it, but you don't care about it.
I want it to work, but I want it to work easy.
Easy, exactly. I could give you an Apple TV, and you by yourself could very easily figure out how to sign on, sign up, and make shit happen.
Right.
There are other devices. There's a Roku box. There's an Amazon Fire. There is, is Amazon Fire? Yeah, Amazon Fire, the Google Chromecast. There is a half a dozen different ways of getting content on your television set that don't require an Apple TV. There are half a dozen ways of getting content off of your Macintosh onto a TV without having to use the Apple TV. Right now, the way we're doing it here, if I wanted to, let me see, if I can't do this real quick, I can post on the television set we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to find something that's not going to offend anybody. So, no, that's not going to work. That'll offend somebody. So maybe it could not be opened.
Motion GPI can't offend anybody.
So what I'll do is I will minimize Kim only in on the screen, not in my heart. Go away, Kim. Why won't you go away?
Because you won't let me.
Oh, yeah, good point. Nice. So here, with no... Make sure the audience can see this.
There we go.
With no Apple TV...
Or cords or...
Well, there is. There's a cord. There's an HDMI cord coming out of the back of my computer and going into the HDMI port on the television set.
But because you have Apple TV, it's like... Boom, boom. There it is.
This has nothing to do with the Apple TV.
Oh.
The Apple TV isn't even on right now.
Oh.
This is just me sending content directly from here to there.
You could do that with anything else?
Yes, any content that I can see on my Macintosh.
Okay, I'm trying to promote Apple TV.
I understand it. I like I don't use the Apple TV the way a lot of other folks do. To me, because I can't afford to subscribe to TV on the Apple TV. I don't rent movies
Right.
off the Apple TV. But if you do, you can watch Netflix on Apple TV. You can watch all kinds of different stations on the Apple TV. They've got NFL football. They've got MLB baseball. They've got hockey. They've got Red Bull TV. They've got a whole bunch of different stations on it. You can do a lot of stuff on the Apple TV. It's a cool device.
I think it's cool.
And now with the newer version of it, and this is where I think is really interesting, is you can play games on the Apple TV. Now, I know you are not a game player. Well,
No.
you are, but not
No,
that
I'm
way.
not. You think I am, but I am not.
You're a player. You're a player, baby.
Player.
You like what that Candy Crush, what is it?
No, not
is
Candy
it?
Crush. Bejeweled Blitz.
Bejeweled Blitz.
I play that once in a blue moon. It's just the noises.
But, okay, you like the noises.
Yeah.
Imagine the noises on a big screen TV with surround sound. Mm-hmm. You could play Bejeweled Blitz on your TV through the Apple TV.
Yeah.
You could play Quiz Up.
That's like being at the casino. Because that's all it is. Bejeweled Blitz is like that casino.
Oh, yes, exactly. But imagine sitting down, you and me sitting down playing Quiz Up on the big screen TV. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Maybe imagine sitting down with a bunch of friends playing Pictionary.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're using the TV
Yeah.
as your drawing tool. Mm-hmm. Imagine me and Matt, your son, playing a racing game on the big screen TV
Yeah.
using our iPhones as our controllers.
He would kick your ass.
Oh, he absolutely would. But there's all kinds of uses for the Apple, and it's just going to get better. But Apple is moving very slowly with the Apple TV, making sure that baby step. Does that work? Okay, good. Baby step.
Yeah.
That work? Good. And so they'll keep doing that. DJ McIntosh, you can also AirPlay from a Mac on El Capitan to an Apple TV. Screen sharing.
The
specific
AirPlay,
video.
that was the term I was trying to think of. I really like the fact that Matt
you-
can
you've
come
used
over
AirPlay, yep.
and he's like, oh, I got this video you can watch. And he goes, "Pachoom." There we go. AirPlay.
And that's through the Apple TV.
Right.
You
That's
can't-
what I like.
Yeah, you can't do AirPlay unless you've got the Apple TV.
But all your buddies that have iPhones that have taken some cool video of them doing something, they can go, oh, look at this, and then
right.
put it on your big screen TV at home. Yeah.
MacMan, does this mean the Apple TV is no longer a hobby? No, it's definitely not a hobby. Tim Cook said that about 6 months ago, that they no longer think of the Apple TV as a hobby. I got some emails from you guys. Let me go through the emails and see what you guys have had to say in this past week. I want to say a big thanks and shout out to Don Beck. Don is there in summersuite.org or donbeck.org. Thanks very much, Don. Somebody asked a question or made a comment, Les Anderson, about security and the common questions that we get asked when we go to websites. Security questions. Two of the common questions, he says, are what was your high school and where were you born? He says, I won't use these questions anymore because all a person needs to do is look at your Facebook page. They can find that information out. I hate when websites ask those kinds of questions that are really, really easy and obvious to find out. Because with that information, you can hack into someone's website, you can hack into their bank accounts, you can hack into different places. What I tell folks to do is, if you're not using 1Password, which I think everyone should be using, if a website says, what city were you born? Well, I never say Halifax, Nova Scotia, because everyone knows it's Halifax, Nova Scotia. What I do is I choose a different city.
How do you remember, though? That's my thing. How do you remember?
You remember, what city were you born? And you think about something in that sentence that tweaks your interest. Maybe it's your favorite city. What's your favorite city in the whole world? Don't tell me.
No, I know, but then, no. It's
Okay.
too hard.
That's fine.
It's too hard
That's fine.
to remember a lot of shit.
Then do something that you remember how to remember it. So, for example, hang on. Let me explain it to you. So you were born in Coventry, England. Okay? So what you do is try this. Spell Coventry backwards. So it's still the same thing. So what you do is you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to answer all these questions, but every question I answer, I'm going to spell it backwards. Or do a
But you see, you have to remember you did that for that website, because I'm going through this right now. Because when I apply for jobs, some of them I can just simply email my resume and cover letter. Others, oh no, you have to go to our website, and you have to, oh no, now you have to become a member of our website, and you have to and then there's all these security questions. And there are all these kind of questions. It's like, Jesus Christ, do I have to really? I have to think, oh, well, when I applied for this job on this site, I have to remember that I put my town of birth in backwards. And, it's like, oh, my God.
As the folks in the RC chat room are saying, have a system. So what you can do is say, okay, I'm going to do these things, but I'm going to use, rather than using my information, I'm going to use the information of somebody else. So I'm going to use my mom's information.
My ex-husband.
Your ex-husband, whatever. Whatever it might be. Your ex-husband's information, my information, Norma's information. As long as you do it for the same thing for all those people, for all those websites.
Right.
Text expander is a much better idea if you can use it. But in this case, what you can do is don't give it easy answers. Don't give it answers that you've already given to everyone and their dog. We've already told everyone it's Coventry, England. Everyone knows now where you live.
Where I was born.
Where you were born. So yeah, pick Matt's place of birth. Pick your ex-husband's. Pick Hannah's. Pick somebody else's, and always use that other person for these
because actually one of the job applications I did today, their questions, some of them to pick from, were quite interesting. It's like, what's your first cousin's daughter's name? And it's like, oh my God. And then, what was the place of birth, the town of your father?
Yeah.
Not everyone knows
that.
For
me, I was like, which one? I got 3.
That would be tough for you, yes.
Daddy 1, Daddy 2, or Daddy 3?
On a ship, maybe.
On a ship, exactly. Monty says, I disagree with using the information of a real person who's close to you. That's information someone is likely to be able to figure out and associate with you. That's true if they know which person you chose.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is for Kim, pick the Queen of England. Mm-hmm. Where was she born? I have no idea, but you could do that. As long as you can do something that someone's not going to guess that easily.
But that's it. It's all these stupid questions that you then have to remember how did I answer that question without being truthful?
There is, Monty says, I have a fictional set of answers to all those kinds of website questions that I never tell anyone and is stored in a note in 1Password. And that's good because in 1Password, that's password protected too. So he's got a note with all this information, and then when he closes 1Password, it locks up the information. It's tough. The problem is how much effort do you want to go through to be secure? How important is this to you? So when I go to a website or I log into an app, and the app says choose a username and a password. Well, if I don't care, if anybody ever gets access to this account, I just did it a couple days ago. Oh, it was an app for exercising. I don't care if someone hacks into my exercise app. So I use a completely insecure password. It's easy to type in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm good. My bank password is 50 characters long, completely unmemorable by anybody in the human race. Because that's important to me. So it depends on how much security you want versus how much convenience you want. And that's always going to be the fight. You want it to be convenient, and if it's convenient, it's not going to be secure. If you want it secure, it's not going to be convenient. Yeah. So you gotta do that. You gotta figure out a way to do that. That's why I say I fudge answers to those kinds of questions. I'll choose a different city or a nonsensical word is my best way of checking that stuff out. Our friend Roddy Paws says, I frequently receive emails about my Google account claiming that Google prevented a sign-in attempt. It always shows the attempt is within the state I live in and sometimes the city. I have my Gmail accounts on my phone, the Mail app, and OS X with Mail app, plus I'm signed in with Google's Chrome. Should I be concerned? I set my password 1Password, so it isn't a weak password. How can I tell if these are from apps I use or somebody else? Should I be concerned? I have changed my password in the past, and it didn't help. This sounds kind of odd, Roddy Paws, that it sounds like you said if it's always in the same city and in the same state, as Brian Monroe says, those are mostly false positives. I've seen them before. It's because of your Mac is waking up and going to sleep. One thing you do is ask the folks at Google about this. Is this something that they've seen, they've heard, that you should be concerned about? I don't worry about them. I get them too because, like you, I use 1Password, and I know my Google password is very strong. I will every now and then go in and check to make sure nothing's bad happened. And I also monthly will change my passwords too using 1Password. But for the most part, it doesn't sound like something you should really be worried about. Roddy also says, you said you have a multi-button mouse. I have a Kensington 5-button mouse that only uses a 2-button mouse because Kensington hasn't updated their software in years. But they still sell the mouse. Because of this, I can't program the keys anymore. What mouse do you use? I use the Logitech. I can't even read that. Can you read under the word Logitech what it says?
It's an M560.
All right, that's what I use.
560.
Roddy, that's what I use. I use an M560 wireless multi-button mouse.
Yeah, and that's just left, right, and a roller. That's
no, it's not. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Oh, no, it does
I got
do
a
bit
button
more.
there.
Oh, yeah.
I got a button there and a roller. I got a button there. I got a button there.
yeah.
I got a button there. I got a button there.
It fucks around. It's one of those.
It does. I love this. Our friend and fellow photographer, David Bridle. I was laughing my ass off listening to you and Kim the other week talking about driving auto versus manual. In the UK, the vast majority of learners start in manual. I think it's everywhere but North America, isn't it?
Yeah, most of Europe.
Most of Europe? I don't know about, maybe Marcus Mendez can tell us about South America.
But you know what gets me?
What? So many things.
So many things. But in Europe, if you learn to drive, or it was in Britain, if you learn to drive a standard,
Yes.
you can drive standard or automatic. If you learn to drive in an automatic and you take your test in an automatic, you can only drive an automatic. You are not licensed to drive a standard automobile.
Interesting.
Motor vehicle. But in North America, you can take your test in an automatic, pass, and then just, 6-10 years, whatever, down the road, you want to get in a standard, you're legal to drive the standard? I don't fucking think so.
Yep.
But apparently in North America, you are. That
North
would
America,
not fly in Europe.
In New York State, in particular, you can go take your motorcycle license on a scooter, get your license, and then jump on a Harley.
Right.
That's not right.
I know. But, that's kind of ish here, But in England, you have the CC limitation as well. Yeah. And same with trucks.
And in Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Scandinavia, and Denmark, you have to take 2 driving tests. Do you know why?
Why?
One summer, one winter.
Oh,
there's a separate driving test for the winter.
Smart.
And if you're not licensed, if you haven't been tested in the winter, you can't drive in the winter. I have no problem with that. Now Brian says it's a nanny state. I think it's a nanny state. I think it's a safety issue.
That's a good
because
idea.
driving an automatic is completely different from driving a manual. There's a huge difference. If you take your test with an automatic and then decide, you want to, as Kim would say, faff about in your friend's manual, that's dangerous because you know what the hell you're doing. David says, I have driven auto and manual for many years. I understand Kim's point. I don't think of anyone learning physics. It's a matter of conscious competency versus unconscious competency. Take, for example, David Beckham has to unconsciously calculate how to strike a ball to curl around defenders and into the goal. One documentary equates these sporting abilities to an unconscious ability to use math and physics to hit the goal and the target.
Yeah, you just do it.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And then that's what I was trying to get across to you without you yelling at me.
You do it, but you don't sense it or feel it like you do when you drive standard as you do in an automatic.
Oh, I don't disagree with you.
You just kind of, you just go with it.
I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't think you're learning physics. You're learning situations. Oh, last time I did this in this gear, this happened. You still don't know shit about physics, but you understand that.
But you don't know what gear in when you're an automatic.
Personally, I found that driving automatic makes me lazy. I don't disagree with him on that. I don't have to concentrate as much as driving a manual car. I have had a friend who failed her driving test 14 times and was recommended to learn automatic. No, she should have been recommended to not drive.
Yeah, some people are not meant to drive.
She passed in the 15th time due to using an automatic. I've also watched her apply makeup while driving or stop at traffic lights. Yes, she shouldn't have been allowed to drive. And here's the kicker. Love the show. You two make it great. Fuck you. Jason Painter in Sydney, Australia. I got my new Apple TV day one on Friday. Bought the 32 gig because I wasn't sure I would use 64. And because it was $80 Australia more. If you're an Apple TV, there's no choice. This is the future, and it's the inevitable direction the platform is going. Actually, it becomes pretty obvious that it was not really a platform until this iteration. Interesting point, Jason. Things I don't like. White background's attractive but glaring at night. Oh, yeah. A white background would be really, really hard in your eyes at night. You're sitting in a dim living room.
Yours isn't white background.
No, he's talking about the new one.
Oh, okay.
The next episode starts playing immediately using a TV show like every other streaming service. I don't like that. I prefer to read the synopsis before starting the next one. You can't let it play to the end and stop while you go away from the TV. And Siri doesn't work on local content from networked iTunes libraries. That's something I find annoying too. Is that you can tell, hey Siri, I want you to play something funny. That's kind of a neat thing to do. And Siri will go out onto the interwebs and find you funny TV shows. What if you got a bunch of funny TV shows already on your hard drive, on your networked iTunes libraries? You've got a bunch of Big Bang Theory. You've got a bunch of whatever. Siri can't find that. Things I like. Going into the App Store, in the Purchase tab, you'll see every app you bought that has an Apple TV version. There were quite a few. Some of them, like Crossy Road, synced my progress. Why are you laughing?
Because Monty says you saying, hey, Siri, just woke up his iPhone.
Oh, that's right. Do you know about that?
No.
If you're, and your phone does this too, if your phone is plugged in under power, so it's got juice, if anybody says, hey, Siri, your phone wakes up. And Siri pops up. Now, you can turn that off, but by default, it's on. So I've had it happen with someone on TV. I'll be sitting there, working away, and an Apple commercial will come on, and the commercial person will say, hey, Siri, and my phone goes, yes. Like, oh, crap. It was a thrill to select PSY without having to restore purchases or any other interaction. Some, like Alto's Adventure, did not, and it was disappointing that I couldn't simply continue my games. What he's saying is the Apple TV will sync your game. So if you play a game here and you get a high score of 1,000, when you go and play it on the Apple TV, it syncs that information up through that Game Center app that is really annoying for most of us. Starts up really fast, like an iOS device. Moving through the interface is fluid. Scrubbing local content is fantastic. You see a thumbnail every few seconds, and I was able to fast forward through opening titles and stop visually. Didn't work on the streaming service I tried. A cleverer cache system would help there. I'm excited about HDMI CEC. When off, clicking any button will wake up the Apple TV, the amp, and the TV, and switch to the Apple TV input. That's very clever. That's really neat. When you turn everything off, right now, a lot of folks have to have like 18 different remotes. I got to turn the TV on. I have to turn the amplifier on. I have to turn this on. You have to turn 4 or 5 different things on. Now with this new Apple TV, one button turns them all on automatically. And you didn't set that up. The Apple TV
does it.
Volume buttons control volume, and you can turn off everything with one action. I've been able to put away my huge TV remote that I only use for power and volume. Unfortunately, HDMI CEC is not always reliable, and my TV has failed to respond from time to time, but this is a limitation of the TV. The amp has never failed. As a very heavy Apple TV user, I channel all my content through iTunes and Apple TV streaming service. This was a no-brainer, and I'm very happy to be on board. That's from our good friend Jason Painter in Sydney, Australia. And I agree with him. If you're a heavy Apple TV user, this new one's going to be great. This new one's a no-brainer, and you're definitely going to want to get it. I'm not a heavy Apple TV user, except from the point of view of using it as a conduit for my content on my hard drives. My MotoGP races that I downloaded. I'll be the first one to admit I torrent MotoGP because it's not available on North American television. It doesn't, Speed TV, no one, NBC, ABC, no one plays it.
Assholes.
Fair enough. So those things I torrent. And Apple TV can't deal with those things. I can't go and subscribe to MotoGP on the Apple TV. So I download that stuff on Sunday, and I'm so excited. You have to come over right away. All right. The second I tell you on Sunday it's ready, you have to come over because I have to know who wins the race.
I know. Me too.
But for the most part, I don't use it for other things. So if you're a heavy Apple TV user, yeah, you're definitely going to want to get the Apple TV. If you've got an Apple TV, let us know what you like or don't like about it. Let us tell the rest of the audience what your thoughts are about it. Maybe you convince me to get one. Unlikely. A lot of money that I don't have right now. Any other questions real quick? I don't think I have any real quick. I've got an email I'll read next week from a very wonderfully named guy, Shawn Kruger. We'll read your email on next week's show, Shawn. Folks, don't forget, send us your contest entry forms because on December, whatever, the first Wednesday in December, we're going to do a drawing for an Apple TV, a 64-gigabyte Apple TV. Thanks very much to a Secret Santa. Go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com. At the very top of the page, click on the Friends of YML entry form. Send me that email, one entry form per person. Or I would prefer if you subscribed for $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever it is. You subscribe and I will automatically do all this stuff for you. And quite frankly, I like our subscribers more than the people who aren't subscribed. I mean, don't laugh. It's a no-brainer. These people give me money. These people don't. I'm going to like the people better. It's just common sense. You got to agree with me on this.
Yeah, probably.
Folks, I want to say thanks very much to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. I want to, as always, say thanks to you folks who are listening in live or if you're tuned in via the archive. Until next week, as always, she's been
Kim Guy.
And I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya! Bye!